She's an award-winning writer, a hunting guide, archery and rifle instructor, keynote speaker, and all-around outdoors woman who encourages you to get outside, hunt, fish, shoot, and savor all that life has to offer. And now, here's your host, Mia Anstine.
Well, hey, hi, hello. It's great to be visiting with you again. I am kind of filming a after the show intro to the show, and that is because I received a package that I was waiting for that took a little while. But today's interview, we're actually talking about some books, and I wanted to read them before the interview. It's always nice to know kind of what you're talking about. And I'm opening a sharp object. This is my Gerber flipper knife. You can find it in some of my reels on Instagram. But when I had the interview, I didn't have the books, like they hadn't shown up yet. And tell me, like, let me know, have you been having this issue? Because I have heard of the issue and now I'm experiencing it. But I've got a handy dandy package here, and I thought I'd do a quick unboxing with you. And let's check out these books that we're going to be talking about today's episode. Well, they're nicely wrapped in bubble wrap. And also, there we go. I don't want to be talking and making too much noise. Oh, look at how cute. Look at this little, if you're watching on YouTube, cute little sticker on this paper that Stephanie used to wrap the books. It's a little raccoon. So cute. And then let's open it up. Oh, check it out. There's a nice little thank you card. It says, "Thank you for your purchase. I hope you enjoy my ranch, farm, and hunting books. My hope is to share the rural lifestyle through these books." New release. Just in time for Christmas, you can add a turkey hunting book to your collection. Head to welcome to our farmlife.com to receive your copy. Please enjoy 10% off your next order with this code. I didn't ask if I can share this code. So if you direct message me, I will share the secret code with you so you can get a discount on the books. The links to obviously the welcome to ourfarmlife.com and to the books I'll share in the show notes so you can find it there. But look at this. This first book is called The Hunt, and Stephanie mentioned that they're very high quality. I'll attest just to the binding and the quality of the publication since I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to. Very nice. The pages and full color pictures. These are really high quality books. And so she sent 2 of them. So why don't we also do a giveaway? And I'm going to give one of these away to a viewer or listener. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a giveaway, and this is so cool because I didn't know I was getting 2 books. So I'm excited to share. I love sharing. I am not an only child, or at least I wasn't born an only child. I am an only child now. That's a sad story, but we'll talk about that maybe on another day. But so we're going to do a giveaway. What I want to do is I have an email list. What I want you to do is if you are a current subscriber, then you need to reply to the newsletter and let me know what is your favorite Mac Outdoors podcast episode that you have heard so far. It can be this one. That's fine if it's this one. If you're not yet a subscriber for the email, then head over there and sign up and subscribe. And also email me back and tell me what you learned from this episode of Mac Outdoors. So either way, you need to be an email subscriber to miaanstine.com's Mac Outdoors. So it's same email. Go to macoutdoors.com, go to miaanstine.com, subscribe to the newsletter. And when you reply to me, I will know that you want to be entered into win this book. This would be a great Christmas gift. It'd be a great birthday gift. And right now, we're going to start the giveaway. We'll run this giveaway from, this giveaway is going to be open from October 26th to November 16th. November 16th will be the last day that you can enter to win a copy of Stephanie White's book, The Hunt. And if you have questions, email me. That can enter you. Just let me know, and I'd be happy to sign you up. And that being said, I thank you for listening. I really do appreciate everybody. I know I thank you guys like every episode, but I really am thankful for the community that we have here. If you have a topic or an idea or somebody that you would like to have on the show that you want to learn more about, let me know. But also, when you let me know what it is that you would like to learn. I did have somebody ask for one of my past guests to be on the show, and I did have Jen O'Hara from Girls with Guns Clothing. We had her on again, and we talked about her show, Living Outdoors. So I'll link that episode in the show notes. But if you have anyone else, like, just let me know, and I want to learn with you, alongside you. If there's something that I've covered in the past that you want to know more about, let me know about that as well, because today's interview, there's so many other directions I could have taken the interview, but we were talking about these books for youngsters. And so I tried to stay on target with that, but we're going to have another interview in the future to talk about some other areas where Miss Stephanie White has some knowledge and experience that I think she can share with all of us. So without further ado, please again, go to miaanstine.com, sign up for the newsletter, or you can email me without signing up to the newsletter. It's not quite as fun, but if you email me, the email address is contact@miaanstine.com, and I will be happy to enter you for a chance to win The Hunt by Stephanie White. Hey guys, are you looking for a stylish concealed carry shirt? Check out Tarn Cap Gear. With print-reducing patterns, concealed carry snaps, and minimal branding, Tarn Cap's cloak of invisibility is what you have been waiting for. Visit mia.limited/tarncap and use the code Anstine for 10% off your purchase. Again, that's mia.limited/tarncap and use code Anstine for 10% off your order. So welcome to the show, Stephanie. For the listeners, today I'm excited to learn a little bit more about Stephanie and about her work, because she is a writer and an author, which I aspire to be someday. So I'm always excited when I get authors on the show so that I can learn more about not just your books, but about you and kind of behind the scenes a little too. So Stephanie, would you mind introducing yourself to my listeners and letting them know who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I am from the Midwest. I'm from Missouri, and I grew up on an agricultural operation that we had both livestock and row crops. And I was really passionate from a young age of sharing the story of agriculture. And so that's where I really started wanting to share the story of producers and agriculturalists. And I was able to work in radio, sharing anything from legislative issues to your more interesting stories that were more personable about the farmers around us. And after that, I had the opportunity to work for the Cattlemen's Association, where I did a few different jobs, but one of which was education outreach. And I just saw a need for books in the agricultural world that talked about more than just our pretty red barn. You know, that's what we think about with farms. And there's so much more to it, especially with modern agriculture. And I found that important to be able to have that, you know, in a book to be used in the classroom. And that's where I started writing children's books at. And from there, I got married about 10 years ago. I've been writing books for 4 years, 4 years. But I got married 10 years ago and became full-time on the farm. And I just was missing that education outreach. And that's when I began writing books. And one day I was out in the stand and I thought, you know, I just started scribbling down some stuff. And I wrote The Hunt, which is a book about archery deer hunting. And so that's where that story started. And it came from the enjoyment of writing books for agriculture into sharing something that I find a lot of value in.
Yeah. And so, of course, as always, I have so many questions running through my mind. So I'll try to kind of channel them, keep us on track of one topic or another. But something that I've found over the years, I'm not sure how you found me, but a lot of people tell me I have to niche down. And so I have agriculture and farming, and then I have hunting, and I have so many things that I do. But it's been something that I've been tasked with also, is to kind of tell that story of how they overlap. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, but farmers and ranchers do understand that a lot. So I'm really excited that you're kind of sharing a message about that. Before we start talking about how you're sharing the message, can you tell us, for the listeners, if you are listening on audio only, if you go to YouTube or to the videos, you'll see there are some animal mounts in the background. So I have posted that you're an author and a farmer, but you're also a hunter, I take it?
Yeah, for sure. So, well, actually, depending on when you're listening to this, so people have a time reference, but we're in the middle of October and I'm in Missouri. Our first cold front just came through. So we are also in the middle of harvest, which means I'm sitting here getting to visit with you instead of out working with my husband because we both are full-time farmers. And so we really had to juggle the love of hunting and also getting our job done because we are on a time constraint to being out in the field and making sure harvest is completed as it should be. So we are hunters. We both bow hunt, rifle hunt, and I've been out in the tree several times already this year. We really just had our first good movement of cold air come through probably 2 days ago. And, I took full advantage of it. My husband he didn't leave the combine, but I left my post and I went and sat in a tree. And so I wanted to get those cobwebs really brushed off, and I went on a doe hunt. And all I saw was basket rack bucks. It's like, it's not usually hard for doe to walk in front of the stand. And of all nights, I went in with full intention. And I guess the good Lord looked down on me and said, not today. You're going to be patient. Just enjoy the scenery. And I did. I had a whole group of bucks bed down underneath me. It was so fun. Even the stand I was in was a ladder stand, and the post that hooks the ladder to the tree, one of the bucks went under there and was rubbing that, and my whole tree stand was just shaking. And I didn't know if I needed to close my eyes and hold my breath or if I should scream or yell at him to make him leave. But so we're hunters and we truly enjoy it. So
I love this story. I think that's awesome. And so for some of my friends, they only do spot and stalk, and then we have different people that will do climber stands. The saddle hunting now is a big deal, which for me, doing a lot of horseback, I was like, saddle hunting, like we've been riding saddles for years and not understanding what a sling saddle was. So now I know. I've learned a lot about those. But being on top of a ladder stand and having a buck scrape, were you worried that he might jar the brackets or any of the straps or anything? Or was that kind of
I had a second where it was super windy. So I had just put that stand up not very long ago. And so the tree itself was a pretty large tree, but it had a lot more flex than I was anticipating. So as windy as it was, my tree was already blowing. And I texted my husband and I was like, this tree has a lot of give to it for as big as it is. And he just said, ha ha, back. So I don't know if he took it seriously or if he thought I was being a wuss. But either way, I was already kind of like, I really hope I had this strapped down good enough. And, that base bracket is basically just to keep the ladder sturdy as I'm climbing up and down. So I really shouldn't have been nervous, but it had me, it had me shaking a little bit.
Yeah. And then I imagine there's got to be a little bit of adrenaline as well, because even though you're not hunting a buck, you probably might have, it's like, do I scare them away? Do I not scare them away? Because you're used to trying to be quiet. And it's like, if you scare them, are there does around that they're going to frighten? So that sounds like such a cool adventure.
Yeah, always fun. There's really no such thing as a bad hunt when you're out there. And it was such a beautiful evening. It was the first night. It was really cold. And I had I just got some new camo. So I was in a complete new setup, and I did not have any gloves because up until that night, I hadn't been needing to wear any. So I didn't take my pack with me. Nothing was with me.
Hey friends, if you're looking for premium performance gear for your next adventure, look no further than VOORMI. Their innovative wool technology is perfect for any outdoor activity. And the best part, you can also support the show by shopping through my affiliate link at VOORMI.com/Mia Anstine. We earn a little commission on your online purchases, excluding sale items, and it's no extra cost to you. Gear up for your next adventure with VOORMI today. That's VOORMI.com/MIAANSTINE. VOORMI.com/Mia Anstine.
So I was digging through, like, I had jeans on underneath my pants, and I had a pair of like pink gloves I have pretty small hands. So those gloves that you can buy at Dollar General that are just super cheap at the checkout, I had bought some earlier that morning because we had been working cattle. And so I found those, and I had these pink gloves, and they did nothing to keep my hands warm. But that's all I had because these clothes had never been worn before. So it was kind of like, oh, it's cold, and I'm glad there's a cold front, but I was not prepared, not acclimated to the weather yet.
So that's something with the first time going out for the season, and I'm pointing out because I hunt sometimes on my own place here, but it seems like the first time out, you're always like, okay, did I bring this? Did I lose my calls? Like, the first outing jitters or whatever, I don't know, but so that's something. But can you tell us a little about your gear? What is your new hunting gear for that you're wearing as a lady? And then also tell us a little about your harness or whatever safety equipment you use.
So I guess I'll start with my stand. We really, and this goes, I'm going to connect this back to my book. We are farmers, and we really appreciate anything that is made in the United States. So we try hard to source what we use in the field and in our life as much as we can that is made here in the United States. Now, we can't always do that, and it's not a stipulation to everything we do, but we do try. And we have really started using Novix tree stands. So we have put a few of those up, and that was actually not one of the stands I was in the other night, but that is what we traded most of our stands out. They're just really sturdy, and they are super prideful in the fact that their stuff is States. And we connected with them at a trade show, and because I go to trade shows quite a bit to set up for my books, and we just really, my husband really appreciated visiting with the guys that sell Novix stands, and the passion they had for it being American made. That was so important to them. And we bought a few stands, and we pulled some of our old stands out, and we're just loving the quality and the sturdiness of Novix. So that's the stand that I typically like to set in. I also have a few just homemade box blinds that I really love on those super cold days. But as far as clothing as a woman, I've really struggled with that. I definitely am bustier, and I'm not super tall. So I'm like 5'4" is probably my height. And I've had a hard time finding clothes that fit me well and that I can bow hunt with easily, that aren't loud. So I bought a DSG set, and I can't remember what the name of it is called, but they have all different names for each set, but this was like a mid-season type setup. So not for super cold weather, not for super warm weather. It was just kind of your mid-season. Like, I wouldn't probably turkey hunt in it. It was too warm for that. But when I was up in the stand, I was so surprised at how quiet it was. And, I have no affiliation with any of these groups. I just go on and I buy and I listen to what other people might like. And of course, through contacts of meeting people, trying things out. But I really have enjoyed being able to wear that set so far. And really, I probably plan on buying another one. So that's more for extreme cold. Last year, I was hunting, and it was 0 degrees, and I was freezing. So I'm excited to have clothes that fit me at those temperatures that I can easily pull a bow back with.
Yeah, and that makes sense, and especially with the DSG wear, because I'm not positive. I need to interview them sometime, but I think they started out as like snowmobile gear and more hardcore winter gear, and that was what attracted me to them was their drop seat in their bibs. I don't wear bibs for hunting very often unless it's waterfowl hunting. But for ladies, to be able to have a drop seat in your bibs is a big deal. And then, from there, I have a couple of lightweight archery pants and tops from them that seem to fit if you're a little more curvy. So that's something that I don't have the issues up top, but down below, so fitting over my butt is a good thing. So
Yeah, we all are definitely different shapes and sizes, and finding something that accommodates women versus pulling out something, I might pull something out that I've had forever that was not made for women. And I just get frustrated with sitting in the sand and my pants not fitting correctly, or, the length of the zipper, not, it just never fits correct. Or your jackets in the arms, how my arms aren't very long, but the sleeves might be long and it might fit me length and torso. So I really like DSG. And so I think that there's lots of other really great brands out there, but so far for my first full complete set, I've owned a few pieces here and there, but not a complete set. I really like it.
that's cool. It's always good to find stuff that works for you. And so you mentioned when you were talking about that in the book, The Hunt. Can you tell us a little bit about your books? I've done a little exploring, but you've written more books on the website. There's several books, and then there's some coming. So can you tell us a little bit about The Hunt?
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier how important things were for me to have it done here in the United States. So all of my books are printed in the United States, and that is extremely hard to do. So I buy my books in bulk, and I go pick them up in mass quantities, and they are printed here in the United States. If you go to a store, most of the time you're going to get books that are printed overseas. And again, that is a great option for a lot of different reasons. The price point on the end of the author or the publisher, that's really nice to be able to have that. And my cost is competitive when I go to purchase, but I do give some a little bit considering that it is printed here. But it's important to me to know that my books are about our rural heritage, that they're printed here in the United States. So my books, as I said, are about the American farmer, about the hunter here and our conservation efforts. So to me, it's important to keep that here. The Hunt, I have it here. Oh, you brought my website up. So yeah, you can just see it on there. This is The Hunt. It's illustrated by Dustin DiTilio. And shout out to Dustin. If any of you guys out there listening have not checked out Dustin's work before, I really encourage it. He is not only a great person, but he is an amazing and talented artist. And him and I right now are finishing up a turkey book. So it's either going to be titled Off the Roost or The Strut. I haven't decided yet, but it'll be out by Christmas time. And it's just about finished and wrapped up. So those will be my 2 hunting books that I have out, and hopefully there will be more in the future. My most recent release is Sprout, and I just think it's beautiful. It has more of a commercialized, Pixar, current Disney look to it, and
Yeah,
I
that's
just
a
think
cool
it's so
cover.
pretty. Yeah, I think it's really pretty, and I had to add a velvet
Oh,
deer,
gotta go back
a
to.
buck in velvet
Oh,
in
that's
the corner. I
cool.
couldn't help myself. So, but other than that, my books are really more ag education, and they're used in the classroom. So different farm bureau groups, commodity groups, agricultural outreach programs will purchase my books to use in the classroom for ag tools. And that's kind of that's the base of my books. So it really is my passion being able to share these books with people and hopefully reach those who, like with my ag education, my clients base, I don't really think of as farm kids. They're used in St. Louis or in larger cities in Louisiana and Colorado and California. So those are the kids that are receiving these books. And the books just aren't about how your food is being made. Sprout is more of the perspective of the plant that's growing. So, obviously Sprout, but my other books, The Pig in My Barn, The Calf on My Farm, those books we talk about production, but they really shine light that the farmer is just like everybody else. And that a farmer it's a job, it's a career. There's no reason to be scared of the people who's taking and caring and raising your food. And I think that's the core of a lot of our misconceptions within the agricultural industry. And so that's why I really focused on the character in the book is just like you in the classroom, as I'm talking to a kid. It's just another kid, and they just happen to live on a farm. And so I really wanted to hit home with that. So I branched out again with The Hunt and Sprout being more focused on the crop itself. But my other books really share who's behind your food, who's behind our production.
Yeah, that's something that I think is wonderful that you would be teaching that and that you have that background in education, because that's something that I think is quite helpful, is to understand how to share a message. And when you're sharing the messages, what kind of age group are they geared toward? Who are you talking to? Like what age?
So a little bit of different age groups depending. Excuse me. The Hunt, I would definitely say reaches. It's a simple book. I don't. Did you receive yours by chance?
I haven't gotten them yet,
You
so
haven't?
no,
Oh
no. And I
no.
figured
Okay.
they'll probably
I
show
was
up today.
Of course. I was hoping you would get them in time. Okay. Well, the Hunt it's pretty simple language, and I would say it's more poetic. So the pages aren't long, and it's a great bedtime story. So, you know, it's super short. The words are big, and it's easy to read. And I definitely say this is a bedtime story to older kids that would probably be 10. That's kind of the demographic for this book. So it has a little bit of a more widespread, but it's because of the content. It's a hunting book, and I definitely find that older boys, that 10, 11-year-old age group, they come up and they are so excited to flip through the pictures and read the book when I'm at a show. But also the parents get so excited about seeing a book that they can, it's not the same old about a dump truck or a puppy dog. It's something that they live, and it's about their lifestyle, but it's not so in depth that it's not enjoyable to read at bedtime. So that's what my hunting series is all about. It's something that we can share at bedtime, but also sit down and get excited to read as, a young boy. And the person in my book, I say a young boy because it just seems to be that the older boys tend to flock to it, whereas girls seem at that age to want to pick up more of a chapter book, a smaller chapter book or something. But in my book, you never see the hunter. They're always covered in camouflage. And that was something I talked to Dustin about. I wanted any youth to be able to see themselves as a hunter, and you never know. So I always like at a trade show asking, do you think the hunter is you? Could this be you? And they're like, oh yeah, that little girl could be me. Or when I ask a boy, oh yeah, he's just like me. That's how I wear my camouflage. So it's important to me to be able to share that. My other books, I would say kindergarten to third grade is really the demographic I work with on that. And that's just because they're ag focused on the education side. That's where my curriculum sets with those books. And The Winter Cowboy, it's more on animal husbandry. It's a Christmas book, but it is also an older kid book. So I would say that 8 to 11 range is where The Winter Cowboy book fits for kids.
Yeah, that it's interesting how you've kind of sorted out the demographic of who you're looking for to send the messages to. When you're sending the messages, I have in my mind what I'm assuming the books are going to say since I haven't received them yet. But um, what is the actual message? I mean, because since I grew up with agriculture, and I'm guessing you did also. I didn't ask you that. Did you grow up in farming community?
Yeah, both of my parents are full time on the farm.
Yeah.
And I live 3 hours away from my parents, so not far. Andrew and I started our own operation up north where he grew up. But I have three younger brothers. They all farm full time with my dad and my mom and their families. So I grew up on a farm and yeah.
Yeah. And so growing up, it's like we kind of know where our food comes from. We know the work that it takes to produce it. What kind of messages are in the books for is it directed toward somebody who lives in an urban community, or is it more toward a rural liver?
I would definitely say as far as the ag books, they they really are inviting people who may not understand what's going on the farm into the book. So it starts every book in my Welcome to Our Farm Life series starts with Welcome to our farm. It sure is a busy morning around here. And then we jump into what is happening, whether it's taking care of dairy calves, farrowing pigs, or wheat harvest, planting wheat. It really truly is about inviting people who may not understand what's happening on the farm and what's happening with their food system and in a very intermediate basic level. So that's the focus of that. I will say people enjoy that live on the farm being able to pick up a book and relate to it because it is their life. And so I enjoy seeing people who live my lifestyle enjoy the book and find it accurate. That's important to me that they feel
Hmm.
like it's a true reflection of their life. So that's exciting. But with my Welcome to the Farm Life series, particularly, it definitely is. I hope it's used as an educational tool in classrooms a lot. Whereas the hunt, it's something I hope people can sit down at bedtime and pass on their legacy and their enjoyment to their kids.
Yeah. And so in the hunt, how without giving away the story, because we obviously want people to read the stories, but how are you molding the agriculture and the wildlife? Are you telling a conservation story?
No, actually, I would not say that there is any agriculture involved in the hunt. It is
Okay.
truly a hunt story, and it's not I'm after one particular deer. It's more of and the character doesn't have a name, but it's dedicated to all hunters, and it has I who keep their sights set in the right direction. So I feel like that's the basis of what I hope all my books are, that they really help the kids as they're reading or being read to, that they're seeing that it's important to keep in mind what's happening. And so the book, like I said, it's a little more poetic. So up on the treetop is my favorite place to be, among all the acorns where squirrels like to feast. And these pages are little works. I grabbed one that I use on my school visits, but it really is more poetic. And the kids love the squirrels because they're always laughing. Oh yeah, the squirrels! We always think they're deer, so I think that's fun. Um, One of the pages, my bow hanging beside my head, an arrow pulled from the quiver. I patiently wait, trying not to shiver. So, I really hope to just catch maybe the essence of the hunt rather than I'm just going out to kill a big deer. Although that's exciting, I definitely have a target buck that I want that I want to harvest. But I also think we talk about practicing and it's important. I practice my shots all summer and fall, shooting my target. Know I have to be good enough to hit them all. That's important. But I hope the message is just quietly in there. And throughout a picture of the hunter, the hunter's in there, but you, as a youth hunter, you can't tell if that's a little boy or a little girl. And um, it does end, with the harvesting of a deer. But the last page, I kneel down beside him and lift up his rack, taking in the moment, appreciating where I am at. There is so much more to the hunt than what lies here in front of me. Nothing is to be taken for granted, not the tops of the trees, acorns, or the big V's of geese. So I hope the message that is gathered is that our time in the woods is important for so many reasons. And although we might be successful some hunts, that seeing that those cold fronts push the V's of geese down and those chatty squirrels in the trees, keeping us awake or excited when we think it might be a buck coming towards us. I hope that's the message that's really portrayed in this book.
I think it's a wonderful message, and it's probably one. I mean, we're saying these books are for kids, but I think some of the adults could use a reminder sometimes as well, to just get back and enjoy the outdoors and the aspects of the hunt, because I think sometimes we get so focused, as you mentioned, on the actual which deer and killing our target, where there's a lot more to it. And I have a friend that on social media that is struggles to get around, has some ability issues and such, and sent me a direct message about a hunt and just, wonderful things that they saw, because with this cold front that came through, and, the elk, and they weren't in range, but all the fighting and the different things they saw. And so hopefully your message about enjoying what's out there is subliminally in there and will help people remember that. And to me, I think I'm just listening to you right now, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, holidays are coming, and the hunt is already out, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
The hunt has been out for a year since last October. So a full year, almost a full year. I would say the end of October.
Yeah, and so the hunt is out, and you have some other agriculture books, but I'm thinking Christmas gifts right there. And I mean, I love to give children books for birthday gifts and stuff, because reading is just so good for our development. And so for the listeners, I'll put links in the show notes of where we can get these. But before that, tell us a little bit more about what else you have going on with the writing. You said you've got a turkey book coming. And
Yes.
tell us a little bit. You don't have to give away the story, but tell us a little about that. And when do you think that one will come out?
I really hope it's out the first week in November. That's tentative. Of course, we are starting to really feel October slide in and out really fast. So I feel like October is a month that I wish could last 2 months long. I love the month of October. I don't have a favorite season, not to get off topic, but I don't have a favorite season, but I love the changing of seasons. So the feeling of new, like I love seeing summer end and fall come in, and I love seeing fall end and winter start, and the same for winter ending and spring slowly sneaking in on us. I just love the change of seasons and appreciating those little changes. I don't feel like the start of fall stays here fast enough. The trees, they can hold those pretty fall leaves for so much longer if they wanted to. And I really hate to see October leave so quickly. Also, because I really want this book to be done the first week in November, and I'm scared I might need 2 more weeks of October to get it
done. Well, hopefully you can get that one finished as well, and then maybe we can get a set by getting the hunt and the turkey one, whichever you decide to title it. I think that would be a great gift idea. And so with the books, I showed your website on here because I had done some exploring around, and there you mentioned the calf on the farm, and then you've got some others, coloring sets. Oh, those you don't have right now. The pig in the barn.
That coloring book sells out so fast. It is a hot seller. The Farm Girl coloring book, I can never keep those in stock, no matter how many I buy. But I also have free coloring pages that work with, like, the calf on my farm coloring page. Those go together. And if you're a teacher and you want to work this into your curriculum, all you have to do is reach out, and I have worksheets and all of that, and it's free. So if you buy the set of the books, then I send you the curriculum to work with it. I have some fun downloadable coloring pages and winter games and things, some rodeo games that are just kind of fun, that are something to do over Christmas break or when you're on a road trip. And then I also have free Valentine's Day cards. Those are a huge hit. Everybody loves the Valentine's Day cards. They go along with my books. So that they're just super
Those
cute
are
little
cute.
cards that have the characters, and they're free. All you have to do is download them, print them, and cut them, and your kids have Valentine's Day cards. And those, whenever we start getting close to Valentine's Day, my website starts hopping with free downloads. So I'm really happy that people can use those. I have the Farm Life Series Valentine's Day cards, a Ranch Valentine's Day card set, and then also a hunting Valentine's Day cards. And I think they're so cute. Like, no ifs, ands, or bucks about it. You're my Valentine. I just think it's adorable. So
Those are so cute, and that's such a great idea. And I love that you have stuff for adults too. So as I mentioned, like I think the books would be good for adults, but also you've got other things on your site. If we wanted to buy the books, do you do some type of direct transactions with schools or educators or something like that if they're interested in something?
yeah, so my phone number is on the website. So if there are questions when you want to do something like in large bulk, of course you can reach out to me and we can work things out. The hunt is really popular right now with like different whitetail banquets that are happening, and they're buying them to give to the kids that attend the banquets, which is so fun. And those groups reach out to me. I do a lot of wholesale in stores, so my books across the country, I'm looking because I'm kind of thinking, but I retail in about 80 different stores, different
Okay.
locations. Most of them are boutique to farm stores, feed stores, bow shops, stuff like that. So I do a lot of wholesale, so there's always opportunities for me to work with people on pricing if somebody wants to buy a big group for a classroom or for an activity. And one of my favorite things to do is when somebody calls me up and they're trying to have some sort of an event where they're raising money for education, whether it be agriculture, conservation, or just hunters with disabilities, and they need to raise money for that. And I am always happy to send a whole book set and give them to those groups to be auctioned off or to be silent auction, whatever the case is. I think those causes, that's the root of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I always, I just hope that in some way I can give back to these organizations that do so much for other people and impact the educational route for some of these young kids. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there, and I don't want them to be missed out because somebody has a limitation, or maybe they didn't grow up in this lifestyle, and this is a way for them to connect with it. So if there's any people involved in any groups out there, please reach out to me, and I'm happy to ship you a set of books for you guys to use. So yeah.
I think it's awesome that you have that outlook on things, because I think something that we often see in our society is people just want to make the dollar. And oftentimes there should be a better underlying reason why we're doing things, and which is why a lot of people are unhappy, is because they're only worried about the dollars and not about helping their neighbors. So I think it's wonderful that you have that aspect, because obviously you want to make money, but you want to spread the messages too. So I love that outlook on things. It's very commendable. When
Yeah.
when I was looking around and kind of searching the books and stuff, I always share Amazon affiliate links because I make money from those, and I don't make much, but any little bit helps. But I noticed I mean, I had mainly looked up the hunting ones because I wasn't exactly sure what we were going to talk about today, and which is why it's wonderful to do the interviews so we can see what comes up. But do you have like an author page or something that we could share where people can follow you on there?
So as far as Amazon, the last 4 years, I have been very much against my books being on Amazon because I just
Okay.
like the idea of direct sales. However, as of 2 weeks ago, I decided to go ahead and take the plunge, and The Hunt is 100% available now on Amazon. And they are now stocked in Amazon warehouses all across the country. I've sent out hundreds and hundreds, and I'm continuously restocking Amazon with The Hunt. And Sprout is not yet on Amazon. The other books are currently in the process of being logged. So there's so many different ways that you can publish and share your books through Amazon and different affiliates. But I print all my books through a book printer and not through Amazon, which means Amazon buys my books and then they are the ones dealing with the whole backside of it. I don't do any of my shipping to any individuals, and they're not print on demand. So my books they're super high quality with the printing, and Amazon is just making their basic commission off of it. And so it's a hard process to get into Amazon to sell that way, to sell where they're wanting to buy your books and then resell them. But I'm glad this is the route I took. It definitely made the most sense for me. And my author page isn't quite up yet. I decided to do this in the middle of harvest, which is kind of silly, but it's where I'm at, and eventually I'll have it. But The Hunt, as far as that goes, it's on there and it's definitely purchasable.
Yeah, and so would the best place to be to point people to would be to your website, and that's the welcome to ourfarmlife.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the direct to me, but I don't have, anywhere my book is. It's there. You can find it on other online stores also,
Okay.
but Amazon is hopefully will be a great resource for people looking for all hunting books. There's a good group of hunting books out there, and I hope to see more. I get phone calls often of people wanting to learn how to publish a book, and there's lots of different ways that fits lots of different budgets. And one of the first hesitations or concerns people have are, we don't want to feel like we're competing with you, so please don't take this offensively. And my response back to that is, we are not competitors. We're all working for the same common goal, which is to share our love for the outdoors or to farming or whatever the case might be that you want to share. And kids can never have enough books on their bookshelves. And I'm sure parents get tired of reading the same books over and over again. So the more outreach there is, the better. And I hope that if somebody needs a resource, I kind of treaded this water alone. And I think that's silly. If somebody knows that they have a resource available, I hope they reach out to it. So I hope anybody shoots me an email, sends me a Facebook message. Easiest way to reach out to me is through my personal Facebook. But I hope that I can be a resource for somebody trying to either fulfill the dream of publishing a book or just fulfilling the dream of sharing their passion with young children and whoever that might be reaching. I think that's important.
This summer, whether at the range or in the field, WSI Sports Hypertech bamboo tanks, tees, and leggings will have you covered. Visit WSISports.com to support the show and use the affiliate code MACO10 for 10% off your purchase. All products are proudly made in the USA. WSI is bringing back pride in American-made clothing. Again, that code is MACO10 for 10% off your order at WSISports.com.
I think it's important as well. And I wanted to ask you another question because I know what you're talking about, and we've mentioned it a couple times about being harvest season. And I know some people don't understand what that means. And like right now, it's like, oh, you need to go to Denver to the Capitol for this event. And it's like, we're haying right now, and for me personally, this was last week. But can you tell us a little bit about what you mean about the season right now and how busy you are and getting to take a break and not having to be out there working right this minute?
Yeah. So as of this morning, I've done nothing around here but basic chores, which is just go out and check some baby calves and feed a few things around the house. But typically I would be doing something with my husband. I'm a pretty good gopher. I go for this and I go for that, whatever he needs. And before I called you, I actually told him that I needed to be on with you at 1 o'clock. And I think that was because like the time zone. So in my mind, that's where I was at. But then I was like, oh, it's 2, duh. And at 1:15, I called and was like, hey, don't call me from this time to this time. And he's like, okay, sounds good. I have the most optimistic, positive husband in the world. Like the worst things could be happening and he might be frustrated for 2 seconds. And then 2 seconds following, he has a smile on his face and he's ready to conquer it. It's quite amazing. His outlook is just so positive. But he could not get his combine to start. I mean, it's so frustrating. So we are harvesting, which means we're combining corn and soybeans. We're actually done with corn, but we're now harvesting soybeans. We just started on soybeans 3 days ago. And this is our first breakdown of the season. So we're pretty fortunate that we've not had many issues or breakdowns. But he sent me a Snapchat and he was sitting in the parking lot at John Deere saying, well, my combine does not start, but it could be worse. This could be day 2 of harvest instead of close to the end of harvest. So that's what we're doing. My job's pretty simple. Like I said, I just kind of am the person that fills in the blanks so they don't have to leave the field, or I might run the grain cart. I will jump in the combine and combine too, but not often. That's really my husband's job, and I just kind of am the gopher.
Yeah. And so for the listeners, that's generally a lot of times is what the wife does. I mean, it depends on how much land you have, how much you have to do, obviously. But I teach hunter education, and the lady that runs the hall where I'm doing that, she's, running to get parts, running to get more bale wrap or twine or whatever. But that seems to be what ends up happening is they can work on it and you can hop in the vehicle and go and get things for them. It's like, that's fine if you want to be a gopher, it's not a bad job, but it does keep you busy because parts are hard to find sometimes. And especially in the past 3 or 4 or 5 years, it's like, okay, I've got to go further for parts, or we have to order parts and stuff like that. So when we're in the season of harvesting, and I don't know if you're doing corn for food or if you're doing any silage and stuff like that, but it's like, this is the kind of the backbones of what feeds the country, and people don't understand all that work. So the books, I think, are going to probably give a little inclination into what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. And that's what I hope. I hope it paints a decently clear picture of what's happening on the farm. And I think oftentimes with any industry, not just agriculture, but they tend to shine a light on the bad apple. And that bad apple does truly ruin it for the rest of us,
Right.
And I hope that it can be seen that there are so many of us within this industry that truly care for what we do. We're feeding our family the same thing that we're harvesting and putting on the shelves for you. Most of our corn is corn for cattle feed or that kind of stuff. We don't do a lot of white corn, which would be what you typically are using for food production for humans. But our soybeans turn into soybean meal, which feeds hogs and chickens and stuff like that. So we are a part of the food chain, and it is scary to think about all the different misconceptions that are out there about those of us who work every day, just like there are misconceptions about people in other industries. But it's what we are putting into our body. It's also what we're putting on our body and what we're putting into our vehicles, or the soap, the crayons that your kids use in the classroom, or toothpaste. There's nothing that is not from a farm or somebody working in an agricultural or forestry type job. And to think that those people get such a bad rap for what they're doing, just trying to make ends meet, is really disappointing. So I hope that my books can shine light on the fact that we're not a bunch of scary people. We really are just everyday folks,
Yeah, everyday people. And as I keep going back, I really want to read the books. I was hoping I could get them in my hands before I visited with you so I could ask you more questions.
I know. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't get them, but
I'm I am too, because I was trying to think when you asked that how long ago you had messaged that you were sending them, and who knows. My daughter got married a few weeks ago, and our aunt, she didn't ever receive her invitation, so we remailed another one, and she got it like a month later. And it's like, you are invited, it's okay. But so I don't know. I don't want to bag on the mail system, but as I said, with my luck, it'll show up today, like it'll be in the mail or something. I don't know, but we'll see. And then I'll have to give some reviews online. But for my listeners, can you kind of tell them again where they can find the books, but also where can they find you and follow you, if you'll let them know?
Sure. So on Facebook, which is kind of my most used social media tool, me personally, Stephanie White, my profile picture is me with, I don't know if you can see him, that buck right here. He might be out of frame. But anyway, old November, he was one of my favorite hunts. I don't know if I can get my camera to slide. That's November.
I'm trying to get the button. There we go. There, now you can see him.
Can we see him? Anyway, that's November right there, the shoulder mount. Anyway, that's one of my favorite hunts. And my husband was combining when I shot him. So so anyway, I sneak off often, and you can find me in the woods if I'm not where I should be working. But so Stephanie White, I'm super easy to find. I also have a Facebook page just for my books. Welcome to Our Farm Life series is my Facebook page for my books, but it's not used as much. I kind of use my personal Facebook page as my book page. And on Instagram, it's the White House Farms, and on TikTok, it's the White House Farms. And I'm not super active on Instagram. That was not something that I ever really clicked with, but I try to post on there 2 to 3 times a week. And on TikTok, I pretty much post 1 to 2 times a day on TikTok for the most part. So I'm the White House Farms is where I can be connected with. And if you message me on Facebook to my personal Facebook page, I have no blockers on it. So don't be scared to send me a friend request, send me a message if you have any questions about anything. And I'm really happy to help and answer. So.
Awesome. I'll put links to all of those, and I'll try to add a picture. If you're watching the video, I'll add a picture of the profile so that you know which one it is. And we're talking about husbands and combines, and something that I was going to say before we got going was if the dogs start barking, that it's okay. And my dogs are like running around because they hear him outside. There's a little scurrying in the background here and a couple of whiny dogs. But I do really want to thank you for reaching out and for joining me on the show. And maybe we can, in the future, have another episode to discuss a few other topics. And I'll let you know about those in the future, and see if we can reach out again and connect and visit about some other hunting and maybe some other ranching issues.
Yeah, no, I would love it. I could talk about agricultural issues and situations and share about hunts and talk to somebody who enjoys it as much as me anytime. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your podcast. You asked, I don't know if it was right before we began or right as we began, but you didn't know how I connected with you. And honestly, I was just searching hunting podcast, and yours popped up, and I don't know when this was. I mean, it's been a time ago, not just here recently. I would say maybe a year ago or something, probably, or even past that. I don't know when I began, but I just started listening, and I've enjoyed the content that you've provided, and the people that you visited and bring on are such quality people. And I've learned a lot about what happens in different states and different opportunities for people out there. So thank you for making sure that the rest of us can learn a little bit more about what's happening around.
Well, that's awesome. If there's ever anything
flying around me, so sorry about that.
If there's ever anything else that you want to learn about, let me know. And that goes for those of you that are listening too, because that's generally how topics come to me, as somebody asks. And I'm like, if you had the question, somebody else must have the question as well. And so we try to answer it, and I try to find somebody who knows that can educate everyone else. So,
Well, thank
Hey, this is Lloyd Bailey, the Armed Lutheran, host of the Armed Lutheran Radio podcast, reminding you that the podcast you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all the great content at selfdefenseradio.net.